So
indeed.
tell me, yeah, right. So tell me a little bit about how have you found yourself staying inspired, right? Now you've mentioned it is a pandemic. We're in a pandemic, and a lot of
Mhm,
businesses are falling over.
mhm,
You're in the space of serving, and like as
mhm.
you mentioned, pro bono. How are you staying inspired and staying uplifted to not only do the service that you do, but to stay in business, literally, so that others can get an idea, the different processes that you're putting in place of how you're using different strategies to ensure that you stay strong beyond and post pandemic.
Well, one of the biggest things, I stay prayed up. I am definitely,
And
making sure that I'm sticking close to the work because it has been a challenge, becoming a full-time entrepreneur. And within a year, you have a global pandemic that affects drastically the event industry. But when I prayed, I said, I need the sign. I need to be able to receive a sign that what I'm doing is right. And so, when we had the grant opportunities, we actually qualified for a lot more than I ever could have
mm,
imagined. And one of
wow.
the biggest things I tell a lot of people is their foundation has to be right. A lot of people are cutting corners and they did not qualify for the things out there. And this goes for not just people who have a business, a brick and mortar, but hairstylists and people that are freelancer. They can set themselves up better for success if they have a proper foundation. You don't build a house on sand. So
No,
essentially,
that's it.
you are not laying down the foundation. So one of the biggest things that has been able to kind of inspire me is to continue to help others. And okay, we sit down and talk about why didn't you qualify, especially those nonprofits that didn't qualify. Why didn't you? What corners
Mm,
have you been cutting that has eliminated you from the running of getting all this funding? So we received funding, which helped us stay afloat, and we're definitely in a better position. We're actually thankful. We're dominating a little bit more in the event industry than we already were because a lot of the event industry companies closed because they did not have the proper foundation.
it's tough, is it? Yeah. And so the different areas in the foundational, meaning, are you meaning as far as how they're structuring a business, or is it the type of how they're applying for the different, support and help, or maybe even who they're connecting to, who they're connecting with and collaborating with? Like which areas, when you mean the
So
foundational aspect?
the structural part of it, the record keeping, bookkeeping, so
Mm,
to speak, like
that's
any
one.
accounting. I see a lot of people, again, as entrepreneurs, we often wear so many hats and we don't outsource appropriately. So, if that's not your wheelhouse, especially in accounting, you should probably not be doing it yourself. And so, typically the structure and also the bookkeeping does hurt you drastically if you're not maintaining that proper. So I've noticed that a lot of those people did not have their paperwork together when they started applying for the payroll protection and things like that.
So it's really taking time to, like you said, the paperwork, the accounting, the number crunching, just making sure that that is in place before you even go into trying to apply for any of these type of grants or support that's available to you.
Exactly. A lot of them, when I personally applied, they asked me what was my revenue on XYZ months, what was
Mm,
my balance sheet, what was my profit loss, and I was able to provide that information. And also, even myself on one of the businesses, I pay myself a W-2. So while it,
mhm.
it it seems as though it might be the best thing for you to necessarily set, have the money and pay quarterly, registering yourself as an employer. And even if you are just the sole employee under your business, paying yourself a W-2, that's a paycheck that you can definitely protect.
That's it. That's it. I love that. So definitely making sure that these things are in place so that when you do go and apply for anything, any support, everything's in place. And if you can't get it, find someone like a bookkeeping organization or an accountant. There are a lot of accountants right now that are definitely can help support small businesses. So that really makes a important aspect of how to build from, and not only supporting yourself but supporting others, because if you don't have the structure, like you said, you can't build a house with
Right.
on sand. So
hmm
definitely that makes sense. And if you were able to share with those who are listening, like what steps can they take when, especially in a nonprofit world, what steps can they take to become successful and being able to, continue their mission, right, of helping in whatever sector that they're helping? What would be some tips that you can share with them for the nonprofit aspect?
Yes. One of the struggling points I see is, unfortunately, I say this with not the worst intentions, but a lack of leadership. And
Mm.
typically with the nonprofits, they are started and they're founded by people who have a passion to give, acknowledging that we're all not going to be the same, and that if you want people to be motivated, regarding your mission and how you're navigating to help people, you're going to have to make sure that your leadership matches the drive so that you can help drive volunteers, because you cannot achieve the success and greater lengths that you would like to see without a team. And
Mm.
so
That's huge.
the leadership aspect of it, creating the proper, again, the structure, the foundation of what the mission is and how you guys will continue on this mission, writing out guidelines for what your expectations are. A lot of times these newer nonprofits, they just throw out ideas and expect someone to catch it. And it's not in
Hmm.
black and white, and it should be in black and white, everything that you expect and everything that you want to manifest in your nonprofit.
And it's funny that you said it, because I've had a couple of people that have asked me, because I've dealt in the nonprofit world, and the first question I would tell them is, "Do you have a business plan?" And they're like, "Why should I have a business plan?" Well, you need a business plan. You need to have, an idea of what it is that you're going to do. Who are you serving? I mean, there's so many questions. Your mission, your vision, all of those
Yes.
things need to really be rinsed out, so that when
Mm-hmm.
you do go and approach someone, that you actually have a purpose, a plan, and actually, a way of showing that how you're going to be able to take this vision into reality. And you're right, that leadership is huge, to be
Mm-hmm.
able to because you can have a team, but if you're not able to describe what it is that vision is, or literally take, you're sparked by this vision, but are you able to spark someone else with that
Right.
same vision? Hmm,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
fantastic.